Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chief Architect Forum News. My name is Kevin Donovan. With me, Brice Ominski. And today, in the world, in architecture, as in everything runs on energy, strategic energy, creative energy. We're looking at a couple stories that talk about where that energy is going next. A mega merger in the EA world that may be changing how we model and work with transformations, and AI's insatiable power appetite pushing power grids to the brink. So yeah, let's talk about the future of business and technology. Brice, how you doing?
Doing really great. Let's get right into the modeling. So big merger. We have BizDesign, Mega, and who's the third one in there, Kevin?
Alphabet, Software AG's Alphabet.
Alphabet. Yeah. So they're merging together. It's changed the Gartner quadrant that's just been released. So now there's a BizDesign entry, and they're kind of the lone horse in that magic quadrant. And where do you see this going? Do you think they're going to consolidate into a single tool, or what's happening with this, do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I watched, I saw the Gartner quadrant come out. I mean, I wouldn't say they're a lone horse. They're not alone in the leaders quadrant, but BizDesign, who had always been there, or always, has kind of moved further up and out to the right. And of course, now Mega and Alphabet are no longer in that. So there's fewer horses to bet on in the leaders quadrant. And yeah, they got very positive, not exactly a review, but positive thoughts and kind of kudos on their direction and the way they're taking things. Some analysts, are calling now for a new era of architecture consolidation, although I'm not quite sure who else would be next. Of course, LeanIX got gobbled up by SAP,
Yep.
but others, RDoc and others are still out there on their own. So yeah, it's interesting. BizDesign has some video out there. There's some info on their website where they're kind of trying to take two paths currently. If you are a BizDesign or a Mega or an Alphabet user, you still have your platform going forward. I don't know for how long, but I believe it's years. But then at the same time, they're very much interested in looking at what was the strength of each platform and pulling those out and making a new platform that should be best of the greatest hits of the three, and also benefiting from it's. I don't know that much about the background, if it's a ground up, a new platform, or if they're using BizDesign and kind of adding features, but that's what they're looking to do, to kind of usher in a new platform, and really very strategically aiming for bridging this gap from the boardroom to the boiler room, if you will, from strategy down to deployment, and trying to make that very trackable and very visible for all stakeholders. So yeah, it's interesting. It should be interesting to see what they come up with, and how the market reacts.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some innovation on the tool front, as they're probably building something best of breed as they go forward, taking the best of all the tools, combining it. And so really looking forward to that. The other story, of course, we have today is about energy consumption and AI and data centers. So when you look at, AI right now, we're finding that there's a greater demand for energy. Some of these data centers have huge demands, right? They need to be huge. They need to be scalable. They need to be, available. You can't have intermittent sources. Things like solar power, I think, are questionable. I think wind energy is questionable as we get these workloads. I think we're talking sort of heavy duty stuff. I think in the near term, probably looking at, hydropower is a good option. Of course, still have your oil and coal problem. Probably not a lot of coal these days, but you still have that. And I mean, the environmentalists and sustainable energy folk are probably wanting us to move away. And then you have the modular nuclear reactors that are coming online.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing here, though, when I look at everything, Kevin, this is going to change the game, and I don't think we're ready for it yet, will be the introduction of fusion power. So some predictions have that coming online with energy centers as early as 2030. And there's even some word that a company, Helion, is aiming to produce a fusion powered center for 2028 to power Microsoft data centers. That's not a long way off, Kevin. I mean, this is
not at all. Yeah, that really surprised me, the timing on that they thought they could both be operational and at a scale where they could serve a customer the size of Microsoft. They may be biting off a little more than they can chew, but yeah, I mean the energy consumption and needs, we've already seen. I think I saw somewhere that, especially around large, population hubs, that energy consumption and prices have more than doubled in the last 5 years. And over the next 10, no, by 2030, they're predicting a 10x in consumption. And so will pricing follow? I mean, it depends on production, supply. So yeah, I mean, your points about fusion, that very interesting. And if that could come online that quickly, that would be a huge win. Although a little bit of a surprise. I don't know. I see stuff in different feeds every now and then, and it seems like it's at the stage where, yes, we got it working. Yes, we maintained it for 12 minutes before it melted. Now we got one that produced net power for 22 hours. So it seems like there are advancements going on, but it doesn't feel like it's ready for prime time yet. If that happens in the next 2 years, that would be a game changer.
As humans, I think we have a really tough time dealing with exponential change and growth, especially with technologies, right? And when you think right now, in 2 years, our level of knowledge approximately doubles. And so that means in 2 years, you've learned as much as all of history before you. And I think when you look at things that way, at that pace, now, you say, well, there's fusion, it's here. How long to a viable system? I'm going to be betting on the 2028 with Helion. I think they're going to come on board.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd even put a beer on it or something, Kevin. So
you own stock, don't you? You have shares in Helion.
Not yet. I am. After this call, though, I'm going to look into it.
You have to disclose.
Yeah, no, I don't have it yet, but we're looking into it. Absolutely. I think
bumping your own stocks. Yeah, I mean, who knows? You're right. Yeah, I may be guilty of linear expectations in a non-linear world. So sure, yeah, who knows? And yeah, it certainly doesn't alleviate the need for us to be thinking about power as architects, power-aware architectures. I'm sure Lisa and all of her friends in sustainability IT are looking to design systems that measure, predict, optimize energy consumption as a first-class constraint, not just an afterthought. So yeah, we used to design for uptime and latency. Now we're designing for kilowatts and carbon intensity. I don't know. It's
I think on the way to the
world.
2030s, when we get this promised fusion energy coming online, sustainability is going to be a big deal because we need to get more and keep it sustainable. We don't want to, there's some argument that maybe you don't want to destroy your planet on the way. And having said that, the flip side, of course, is when fusion comes online, now you have huge amounts of power to be able to power things like carbon sequestration and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a very interesting transition. And we were talking earlier and you brought up an amazing point. I mean, we're not talking about needing a little bit more power. It's not 5 or 10% more. It's by 2030, we're talking what, a tenfold increase, Kevin?
Tenfold increase. Yes. Yeah. And actually, what you made me aware of pre-show when we were talking is this need, at least AI's training and inference needs for density. It's not
Energy
just
density, yes.
when you hit return and send your prompt, it's always, it needs a constant on 24/7. Which, yeah, is completely different than what most energy needs are, I would guess. They tend to be spiky. But
It's certainly high availability. And of course, the other issue is things like solar and wind. You could only add so much to a hydro system because they tend to destabilize it. And, now you start looking at, it'll be interesting with fusion where that fits into the game. 2028 isn't that far away. I think we're going to start to see more stories. And I think this is encouraging because I think at the end of the day, we are going to become more of an energy consumption society. I think, you look at this thing we talked about in one earlier episode, the Kardashev scale, societies, they start to harness more and more energy. I think we're seeing that already. We're starting to see that increase with stuff. I think it's very exciting. It'll be nice to see Helion come on board in 2028 if they're successful.
That's going to be needed if we're going to keep pace with that scale in exponential time instead of linear. Yeah, it seems like it's always a brave new world, from the boardroom and consolidation to grid level constraints. Energy is becoming the defining currency of our digital age. And as architects, now's the time we have to think about designing for power, organizational power, and electrical power. So yeah, and by the way, all of you out there, please share your thoughts here in the conversation. Tell us how you're making your architectures more sustainable, more energy aware. Let's shape the future responsibly.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.